When I was a Lutheran pastor, the way that we would give a blessing at the end is we would use the Aaronic blessing. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine on you and be gracious to you. Just how gracious is God to you, and how do we experience the graciousness of the Lord in our daily lives? What does it mean where God is gracious? If you're like me, the more I get close to God and the more I spend time with the Lord, I feel like every heartbeat is an act of God's graciousness. Every breath I take, every opportunity I have in my life just to exist and live and move and have my being is graciousness from God. Something to be appreciated and reveled in, even. Every moment is something to enjoy and to appreciate, for it's an opportunity to encounter God through my experiences, through my thoughts, through the person next to me. Well, when we talk about graciousness, how good God is to us, we can't help but talk about Jesus, obviously. And the second reading says, "Brothers and sisters, when the fullness of the time had come, God sent his Son, born of a woman, born under the law, to ransom those under the law." The graciousness of God is expressed most through Jesus Christ, ransoming us and making us children of the family of God. You are of the family of God. You've been adopted by God through this ransom process that Jesus underwent. And I don't think we always get how important that is. When Christianity was just starting to emerge in the Roman Empire, people were bothered by the fact that Christians called each other brother and sister. They thought there was something creepy about it because people weren't normally that affectionate towards anybody except in their own families. And the reason we can do that is because God has made us family. God has made us one. We're not part of a movement, we're part of the family of God. There's a bond there that's as close to one another as it is to our own nuclear families. That's what God has done through Christ, by this ransoming. And when we are ransomed, think about it this way. If somebody is ransomed, what is required? Something is required, like money or a payment or this or that. I remember when in the 1980s when the Iranian militants took over the American embassy, and Muhammad Ali, an American, said, "I will ransom myself. I will go and take their place." Christ came and took our place, ransomed us, so that any sorts of separation from God rested on him on the cross. Complete transfer, complete freedom, complete adoption, open door all the way. The graciousness of God said, "Nothing, neither life nor death, will separate you from my love for you." And then we come, of course, last to this understanding of the nativity. The child, Jesus, the baby, is God Almighty. Complete openness, complete fragility, complete approachability by anybody, whether you're a shepherd or a wise man or a neighbor, or anybody can come to that baby and feel safe and comfortable and accepted and needed. How many of you, be honest, how many of you have gone on YouTube and seen all the cute little videos of the little different animals having fun together? Yeah? You've seen those? Like the one where there's like a mother dog that's adopted a little baby bunny rabbit. You ever seen those? Yeah, that's turning into YouTube. That's the great contribution of our society to the world, is little memes of things like that. But there's a reason for that. There's a reason why, for example, I don't know what you say, a cow adopting a duckling. There's a reason. You know what that is? Babies are cute. Babies are cute, and it's ingrained in our genes. For example, if an animal was orphaned, often what happens is that another of its own species or another entirely different species will see those features, those baby features that resemble each other regardless of the species of animal. They still looks like a baby, and the mother animal goes, "Aw," and brings it in and says, "I'm going to nurture you just like you're mine." We see that in Mickey Mouse. Did you know that Mickey Mouse was a creepy character when he started out in the 20s? Raise your hand if you've seen Steamboat Willie. Steamboat Willie. He was this little creepy black and white cartoon with a long nose and beady little eyes. And his little friend Minnie was the same way. And they would go around torturing other animals and playing bad pranks on them because that's what mice look like. And over 25, 27, 30 years, look what happened to Mickey Mouse. All of a sudden, his head got bigger, and his forehead came down like this. His eyes got bigger, his legs got stumpier. Look what was happening to Mickey. He was turning into a baby that everybody loves. God became a baby that everybody loves and can approach. You know why the Lord did that? You see, there's other religions that have incarnations of gods. Did you know that? Christianity is not the only religion that has an incarnation where God becomes man. Krishna in the Hindu religion does too. But when Krishna became a man, Krishna became a warrior, a fighting warrior, a king. God Almighty, the only God, becomes a baby that everybody can approach and everybody feels like they can own. That's why the nativity story is so powerful. It's the little baby Jesus wrapped in a swaddling clothes, little bobble-headed Jesus, that anybody can come to and feel comfortable with and enjoy and say, you know what? That's the kind of God I can feel comfortable with. That's the graciousness of the Lord. Didn't have to do that, but he says, I will do anything to bring you into my family. And I'll tell you what, after this crazy 2019, when a year is coming to an end, isn't it wonderful that we can celebrate Christmas with such hope and optimism rather than cynicism? Don't be cynical for 2020. Don't say things aren't going to change, because you know why? Because God became a bobble-headed baby lying in a manger for our sake. Gets no more gracious than that.